Hi everyone, welcome back to the video. This is lecture 5 of our learning series where we are learning machine learning and AI. And in the last video, we looked through linear regression. We went through its examples, cost functions, gradient descents, and also we saw the multiple linear regression and its formula. And in this session, we'll be starting through the other parts of multiple linear regression. Okay. So before that, as you know, we follow a trend that is to write a fun fact. Fine. So let's write today's fun fact, which is your brain is constantly eating itself. Now you'll ask this how. So let me explain you. So there's a process called phagocytosis. Phagocytosis. Okay, under which where cells are like envelop and consume smaller cells or molecules to remove them from the system. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to worry about it because it's not harmful, but actually it helps you preserve your gray matters. Okay, so this is a healthy process and it's part of our human body system. Don't need to worry about it. This was a fun fact, and actually I also didn't know. So moving to the good part, let's do the as we know we have different tools such as SPSS and uh, other tools available in the market where we can use and do our linear regression and multiple regression smoothly, and we don't have to worry about anything because they'll you just need to input the independent variables and they'll find everything for you. But I want to give an extra skill, a magical skill, where I'll let you learn that how can you do these calculations with your hands. Fine. So we'll write it down like hand on. Okay. So suppose, first of all, we'll suppose we have some response variables. Okay. We have some response variables. Okay. And let it be y. Fine. Then we have is two. Okay. Two different predictors, and we'll name them as x1 and x2. So the step 1. Okay. Suppose y is your dependent. Okay. And these two are your independent variables. So how will you find the multiple regression in this case? First of all, the step 1 is to calculate. First of all, the step 1 is to calculate x1 whole square. Okay. There are many parts here, so I'll write it like this. Then calculate x2 whole square. Third one is to calculate x1y. D would be to calculate x2y. And the last one would be to calculate x1 into, so the last one would be to calculate x1, x2. Okay, so this will be a multiplication of this. Now, the thing you need to find is sum of x1 whole square is equal to sum of x1 whole square minus sum of x1 upon n whole square. Okay. For example, if we take this calculation more further, let's suppose we have two independent variables. Okay. So what will our main formula be? So y will be yb plus b1 x1 plus b2 x2, right? This will be our main formula which will be mainly following. So now how to find BO? So BO would be y minus b1 x1 minus b2 x2. b1 will be sum of x2 का whole square upon, no, we'll not do this right now. Let me do it once again. So next we'll find b1, which is sum of x2 का whole square. Then we have sum of x1 y1 minus sum of x1 x2 and then sum of x2 and y. Okay, upon sum of x1 square, sum of xn square minus sum of x1 x2 का whole square. It will be sum on x1 का whole square, sum of x2 का whole square minus sum on x1 x2 का whole square. Okay, going further, to find b2, the formula would be sum of x1 whole square sum of x2y minus sum of x1 x2 then sum of x1y. This is x1y. Okay, upon sum of x1 का whole square, same as above, sum of x2 का whole square, then minus sum of x1 x2 का overall whole square. Fine. So in this way you will come to the conclusion sum of x I का whole square is equal to, or x1 का whole square, sum of x1 square minus sum of x1 का square upon n. So this was the formula which I wrote here, if you remember. Okay, so this is how we calculate this formula, okay, in multiple regression model. After that, suppose if I is equal to 1 for us, then it will be sum of x1 का whole square, sum of x1 whole square minus sum of x1 का whole square. If I is equal to 2, then it will be sum of x2 का whole square is equal to sum of x2 का whole square minus sum of x2 upon n into overall whole square. So you need to remember this 4 formulas, I would say, if you want to work with research models and all. Okay, also the main formula, you should never forget this both. So this one and this one. So overall 5 formulas. If this actually we mostly use if you're working with research and solve. So this you should remember and make notes of it. Fine. After that, what you need to do is, after finding this equation, so still our calculation is not complete. So after doing this, what you need to do is calculate the followings. Okay. First you have to calculate is y x1 x2. Okay, so this will be our first one. Next one is calculate is x1 का whole square, then x2 का whole square, then we have x1y, and then we have x2y. Okay, this and this. Need to calculate this. After that, we'll move forward and calculate the sum of x1 का whole square, sum of x2 का whole square, or I should write in table format. I'll write this in table format. So it will be sum of x1 whole square, sum of x2 का whole square, then sum of x1y, sum of x2y, then we have sum of x1, sum of x2, and then we have sum of y. Fine. After that, the third step would be to find B1 and B2, which you can find using the formula which we have done here. Okay. So for finding B1, you can use this formula. For finding B2, you can use this formula and put their values here. I'll write it here using formula. Okay. Next, the fourth one we have is put back the value in y equation. Okay. So this one is the main formula which we are working in. Next, fifth is okay, sorry. So I have missed out a formula here. So I'll write it here. Fourth, and this one is the last step. Fourth one would be to find B0. Okay. So now let me explain this whole process in simpler format. First of all, what you will do is follow this part only. So this is the overall table. So this is the overall table which you need to find. So when you will have your independent variables and dependent variables, you need to put them in this formulas, okay, and find these things. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 things. After that, finding them, you'll find the second step, which is finding their sums. Okay. After that, put these sums back to the formula which I've shared here. Okay, B1 and B2. And then after putting this value and finding the variables, you can find the B0 value. Okay. After putting the B1 values to B0, you can find its value. That is the step 4. And after that, putting B0 back in the main y equation which we follow, that is B0, then we have B1 and all. Okay. Then you can find the y variable, which is the predicted value. So this was the overall process, that how to find these multiple linear regressions and how to predict values through hand-on formulas. So this video is in so much depth that you have to understand it, and if it takes you multiple times to watch this video, please watch it and make notes till here. I want to conclude this video here because I know this is very heavy topic and you need to fetch your details and get things done. Okay. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video. So this is the overall table which you need to find. So when you will have your independent variables and dependent variables, you need to put them in this formulas, okay, and find these things. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 things. After that, finding them, you'll find the second step, which is finding their sums. Okay. After that, put these sums back to the formula which I've shared here. Okay, B1 and B2. And then after putting this value and finding the variables, you can find the B0 value. Okay. After putting the B1 values to B0, you can find it. Okay. After putting the B1 values to B0, you can find its value. That is the step 4. And after that, putting B0 back in the main y equation which we follow, that is B0, then we have B1 and all. Okay. Then you can find the y variable, which is the predicted value. So this was the overall process, that how to find these multiple linear regressions and how to predict values through hand-on formulas. So this video is in so much depth that you have to understand it, and if it takes you multiple times to watch this video, please watch it and make notes till here. I want to conclude this video here because I know this is very heavy topic and you need to fetch your details and get things done. Okay. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video.